The Antisocial Network by me, Shay Keebler. In this video, I will discuss how my own experiences fueled me to dive deep into this topic of inquiry, and discuss prior research and my own personal research on the topic. I will wrap things up by leaving you with my conclusions and recommendations. First and foremost is my inquiry question. My inquiry question is, does the use of digital technology have an adverse effect on the social skills of today's youth? The personal experiences that guided my burning question started when I considered all of the new technology that emerges into society seamlessly. It seems as though there is always something new entering the mainstream. Technology and the use of it on a daily basis has become the new norm. One is considered a caveman should they not use technology on a regular basis. Another thing that I considered were my observations of children in my family and school placement who seemed to be born with the ability to use digital technology. The rapid osmosis of technological inclination is becoming ever more prevalent in classrooms and outside of them. And lastly, my experiences in a psychology of education and sociology of education classroom here at Mount Royal really got me thinking and talking about this topic. My main questions when I conducted my research were, does the age of the student matter when it comes to the influences that digital technology has on student social development? Does the amount of access the student has to digital technology make a difference? And lastly, what strategies can teachers use to implement positive forms of digital technology in their classroom in order to foster positive social skills? Upon scouring the online library, I was able to gather some insight on prior background research in this topic area. The results are as follows. Contrary to expectation, the conclusions drawn by the articles were rather positive in terms of the effects of technology on students' social development. The teachers who participated in these surveys unanimously reviewed technology as a driving force in affluent social behavior, cognitive development, and motivation. Online learning environments have become more common across borders in the hopes of connecting students from different countries and backgrounds. And lastly, students who use technology on a more consistent basis were shown to have better social skills compared to those who only use technology at school. Now that I've considered all the prior research done, it was time for me to conduct my own. I conducted an online survey in an effort to collect data on my area of study. My fellow teacher candidates responded, and I was able to compile the results into graphs and tables, which we will look at a little later. All participants entered the survey with the understanding that their identities would remain confidential and no personal information was revealed. I also had the awesome opportunity of getting in touch with Mount Royal's own social network strategist, Karen Richards, who was able to answer a few pointed questions of mine and give me some really great insight on the topic. After sending out the survey and getting the results back, I was able to analyze the data using Google Spreadsheets to get a quantitative representation of the information. For the qualitative information, I used word maps to represent the data in a creative way. Now let's take a look at some of my findings. In Figure 1, we can see that the vast majority of teacher candidates agree that technology is advantageous to education. This response is on par with the background data collected prior. However, Figure 2 is effective in showing the divide in opinion on whether technology actually helps social skills of students. This allows one to draw the conclusion that it is not all black and white, there are shades of gray. The word map that has been provided as Figure 4 shows how all students had a mixed approach to technology education in their primary years. In my own generation, technology was still up and coming. Through analysis of the survey results, I can extrapolate and consider how a millennial might respond to this question. In looking at Figure 5, this serves as a great tool for me to use in my future teaching practice. It really shows that using digital technology is absolutely something that future teachers plan on using. As I said, I had some great correspondence with MRU expert Karen Richards. Here are some of my favorite quotes from her. Digital technology has opened up the doors to so many new ways for students to learn. The biggest downside to digital technology, in my opinion, is the increasing lack of human interaction and face-to-face communication that is prevalent in schools now. It can be easier to look down at your phone or at your laptop than to speak to people in person. I think maintaining a balance of in-person and digital communication is the best way for students to be successful. And finally, if teachers and students can understand various tools and be informed about how they work, they can be a huge asset to learning in and outside of the classroom. But there is never a substitute for face-to-face human contact, so a mix is best. Now let's close things off with a conclusion and some recommendations of mine for future practice. The main concern for me as a future educator is making sure to fuse the use of technology and the promotion of positive social development to the greatest benefit of the student. Other inquirers might want to think about what forms of technology are best versus worst. And lastly, I would love to get a student perspective on this issue and see what kind of things the kids are thinking and talking about.